It's lame, boss. It's lame. Fantasy Island was directed by Jeff Wadlow, who directed Blumhouse's Truth or Dare. And right there, you should know that you're in for a horrible ride into bullshit. And I'm not even knocking the director, but Truth or Dare was horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous. He also directed Cry Wolf and Kick-Ass 2, and he's directed a few other movies. And this one is a reimagining of a 1970s cult classic series, the whole thing with Ricardo Montalban, or Montalban, however you say the name, and, the little midget guy, tattooed, the plane boss, the plane, all that stuff. Unfortunately, this is a PG-13 horror movie that has no scares in it. None at all. It has absolutely zero scares, and that's the big issue I had with this. You can make a PG-13 horror movie and make it, pretty damn chilly, and you can make it a little bit psychological and stuff like that without showing that much blood. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark actually did that pretty well. Now, I'm not going to say that movie was scary, but it had some chilling imagery and used the PG-13 rating properly. And there are other examples as well. In this, there are select people that are brought to an island and headed by Mr. Rourke, Michael Pena, and who's a pretty damn good actor. And I gotta say this, looking at the cast, you got Lucy Hale, who was also in Truth or Dare, and has about as lame of a character in this as she did in that movie. And she's not a bad actress, do not misunderstand. I actually think she is a terrific actress, and looking like she's 20 when she's 32, she clearly drinks the blood of the innocent. That was an unnecessary claim, but I'm standing by it. Also, somebody that does not look her age at all is Maggie Q, who I happen to enjoy as well. I think she is a very good actress. And the other cast members are very pretty people on this island setting, and there are people that need to live out their fantasies. Some want revenge on a school bully. Some want to be the heroes. Some want to rectify a mistake in their life. And we all get to see, these fantasies play out. But if you don't let the fantasy play out, you die. If you try to change the fantasy, you die. It's like the Truth or Dare thing. If you don't, you do the dare or you die. You tell the truth or you die. And nobody's doing weird, goofy smiles, though there are some stupid special effects in this. And my God, this movie was shit. I can't even get over how bad this was. This was actually worse than The Grudge and worse than The Turning. And we're only in February, and this really has a shovelware feel to it. Now, Blumhouse makes a ton of money off these movies because idiots like me will go watch them even though I use passes because I didn't want to have to spend my own money on this. This movie cost like $7 million and probably had an advertising campaign of about, the same. So they always make money. I mean, Truth or Dare made quite a bit of money. So, they're essentially the asylum of the theatrical world. So I always look forward to Blumhouse movies, despite the fact that they're usually generally shit. And sometimes they're actually okay, except if you're the Gallows Act 2, Jesus Christ, that was bad. A24 produces some really great movies, so you have two studios that are diametric opposite of each other. So back to the movie. What is it? Okay, people come to an island, and everybody's got a past. But is there something that ties them all together? Why these select people? Why are they, they're all living out their fantasies? You have Maggie Q, who wants to rectify a situation that she had with a lost love. Lucy Hale's character wants revenge on a school bully. And you have another guy that wants, that always wanted to enlist in the military. And as things go on, these fantasies get deeper. What exactly is going on with this? Holy crap, it's supposed to be scary, except it's not. Too many jump scares in the initial few minutes. I already knew that this movie was going to blow its load too quickly, and there were no scares in this. This is one of the least scary horror movies I've ever seen. It took away scares from other horror movies, and I don't even think that is actually possible. Now, that being said, this movie could have been fun as a psychological thriller. If it plays with your minds, what are you seeing? Is what you're seeing real, or is what you're seeing, just like the fantasy, is it all fake, or what is actually going on? Is the island playing with your mind? They could do some stuff like that. Perfect Getaway was something, it was a bit more bare bones and was less about the island playing tricks on everybody. But that was a pretty good movie that they could have taken things from, maybe not the whole thing from, but taken elements and like, hey, we can make this scary. Nothing in this movie really ties together. There are a lot of scenes where it's like, holy crap, it's like these scenes were filmed in different movies and just Human Centipede together. Amazing, it almost took me 5 minutes to put that in here. But this movie has almost no cohesion. And when it tries to have cohesion, you don't care about any of the characters. That's the thing. It's not that I was confused by the plot. I knew who the bad person was right off the bat, and I think many of you could probably guess it as well as you were watching it. It is not that difficult to figure out. But it's just no scares, no nothing. People try to do the right thing, and then people make monumentally stupid decisions just so all this stuff gets wrapped around. And it kind of reminded me of the movie The Triangle, except The Triangle at least had something to it. This movie has a whole lot of nothing, has basically next to nothing, and is one of the worst things that I have seen in the last few years. Now, is it the worst? Is it worse than Truth or Dare? No, but it's close. And they're still going to make a shit pot full of money on this because Blumhouse is smart like that. Blumhouse, I don't know how you say it. You say tomato, I say tomato. But really, you're just watching these characters make these stupid decisions. And the conclusion is just like, oh, okay, now we get to the fan servicey part. I mean, my God, that's really just fucking silly. But yeah, stupid. Watch it on Netflix or something when it comes out. I mean, or go with passes and use passes. But even then, you're going to feel like you wasted your time. But now we're going to get into spoilers here about 6 minutes in. So 3, 2, 1, and go. Spoiler territory here. So, okay. You got this thing where Maggie Q's character wants to rectify a situation. She, had a lost love that she let get away. And she was going to try to rectify that, and she wanted to have a kid with him and stuff like that. At least that's how Mr. Rourke interpreted it. But no, later it turns out she actually wanted to rectify some situation where suddenly we go into these flashback situations, and we go into another fantasy where she sees this apartment on fire. And it's because she accidentally left a kettle of tea there, and it caught fire and everything, and killed somebody above. And how does that person factor into this whole thing? Well, now you got to look at all these fantasies. You got to backtrack just a little bit to the fact that Lucy Hale's character essentially is goddamn nuts. First, she wants revenge on a school bully, but that's not her actual fantasy. Oh, no, 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 no. Lucy Hale is the bad person. Because the person that died in that apartment turned out to actually be some guy that she liked. And because the apartment caught fire and she thought that he abandoned her, but then it turned out that nobody bothered to save him and she lost the one chance at love that she had, she went nuts and got everybody there that was responsible just to kill them. That's essentially the movie right there. The problem is Lucy Hale is not a convincing villain. Now, she can be. She's not a bad actress, but all the smoke and mirror stuff didn't hide the fact, like, we knew it was pretty obvious she was the killer. Like, you could tell who it was. You had Mr. Rourke's character who had an assistant who actually was his wife, and as long as he did the island's bidding and let the fantasies play out and people died and whatever, he could keep his wife as she is. The problem is she was also sick all the time. So she would respawn and everything, but in a really sickly state. So she was just suffering. That's a great thing to do for the person that you love. This movie was a goddamn mess. And you also got the subplot with this other guy living out his fantasy of enlisting in the military because he lost his dad in the war. Or in, some kind of military strike. And they really attach a whole lot of time to that. The problem is you don't buy into any of it at all. None of the characters have any depth to them. And then you got two party boys, one that's straight, one that's gay. And they get caught in this plot of stuff. They're partying, and then these guys suddenly show up and want no, where are the drugs and where's the money? It's like a bad, it's like a bad 70s or 80s action movie and stuff like that. Where are they? Or like any Call of Duty game, except without the racism, just with the bad characters. This movie was so crushingly awful. It wasn't funny. I mean, even when it tried to be. It was unintentionally funny when it tried to be scary, but that's not the point of a horror movie. I didn't expect to be scared by this, but I'm like, oh, okay, I could have some fun with it, and it's putrid. It's fucking putrid. And the whole thing with Maggie Q's character, Elena, she tries to set this thing right because she wants to try to rectify the house fire, or the apartment fire that happened that killed this boy that Melanie, Lucy Hale's character, loved. And it's just so ridiculous. And none of these people are necessarily bad actors, but they have about that much material to work with for all of them, and there's nothing there. Oh, and then at the end, you get the Asian guy who was the the gay best friend. He wants his friend to come back, But the thing is to do that, for him to come back and live on his life, he has to stay on the island. So everything gets rectified. Melanie gets killed because you drink some water, and because you drink the water, you can have a fantasy, and she has a fantasy of them meeting, and she gets drugged down into the pit that is Melanie's character does. So everything's rectified, all this stuff, and then you got Mr. Rourke, and you got the Asian guy, and this is his name, but he got a stupid nickname in college, and it was Tattoo, because we had to get to that point for that. He had a lame tattoo that he mentioned earlier, and it's Tattoo. So now we're probably going to get a sequel. Fantasy Island 2, Electric Boogaloo. So look, this movie, shit. I can't really get into a ton of details about the plot, because despite any layers they try to add to the characters, everybody just does stupid shit. That's really what it comes down to. And anybody that tries to do anything smart, no, it's really just to advance the plot. And also everybody on the island that works on the island is possessed by this weird black goo, where, they're like just pawns in this game and everything, because the island's alive and there's this weird spring that, makes you do all the fantasy stuff, and it's lame. It's fucking lame. And now that I think about it, it's really a lot closer to Truth or Dare than I thought, though it's just above that, but still fucking F, and worse than The Turning. Sure, this had more of a conclusion than The Turning did, and if you've seen The Turning, you know what I'm talking about. If not, please check out my review. But this movie is lame. Anyway, yeah, F. Pull above my head, maybe. If not, let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.